Hello everyone, my name is Rajesh Kumar and I'm your DevOps SRE DevSecOps coach. I have close to 18 plus years of experience working in multiple MNSEs around the globe and having in-depth knowledge of DevOps, SRE and DevSecOps. So I would like to introduce you one certification program in a DevOps, and that is we call it DevOps Certified Professional. Now this is a 2 months of program, 25 tools of DevOps you will learn, and apart from that you will also get the access to the LMS, lifetime access to the videos portal. It's a certification program, and you will have 25 assignments and 2 projects along with it. It's a completely weekend program, so here you have classes on Saturday and Sunday. So as part of this course, you will learn multiple things. Here you see that you will learn Linux, AWS, Docker, Jira, Confluence, Python, Git with GitHub, SonarQube, Maven, Gradle, Packer, Artifactory, Selenium, JMeter, Ansible, Kubernetes, Helm, Terraform, Jenkins, Datadog, Splunk, and Neuralink. Now, how do we, apply for this? So how can you reach out to us? So you have a WhatsApp number and email ID. So please reach out to us and we'll help you to onboard this program. Apart from this DevOps certified professional programs, we are offering other certifications as well in a DevSecOps, SRE, and one of the very comprehensive programs which we have is in Master in DevOps Engineering. Yeah, so feel free to get in touch with us and then enroll for it. Thank you.
Okay, so today we have a completely theoretical class, which is nothing great but about the DevOps. And today I'm going to teach you what is DevOps. That's the important question. Many people, think DevOps is X, DevOps is Y, different definition of DevOps, and we should correct all of this understanding together and understand that what is DevOps in real. Okay, so guys, in order to understanding the DevOps, okay, first of all, let me say in this way, DevOps is not new. Okay, so don't get excited too much. Okay, it's not something which you are learning new thing, and you should take DevOps so seriously in your mind, so you start getting frustration and curiosity, get confused about it. It's nothing new. Okay, so that's something which we are doing from last 30-40 years in a certain ways. Okay, and that we'll discuss. So first, ease out your mind about the DevOps. It's nothing great, nothing new. Okay, we are just doing some improvement over the past processes, that's all. Okay, so for that, now in order to understand the DevOps in the right perspective, you have to understand the software development model, software development practices from last 20-30 years. And the moment you understand this, the all this history of software engineering domain, then automatically you'll understand the DevOps. Nothing great about it. Okay, so if you look at this software platform in 1990s, we had a desktop, and I remember that I bought one of my desktop in my college degree time. At that time, laptop concept was not there, or maybe it was at a very early stage. So desktop. How much, let's say, if you want to set up a whole software from scratch to end, like buying the hardware, then operating system, then prerequisite, and then all this stuff, configurations and all. So if one application you want to set it up in a desktop, it used to take 1 day, okay, on an average. How we were consuming? So we had a console means MS Office console, or let's say what console, Word console, PowerPoint console, Visual Studio. At that time I was coding in college time, so yeah, these are the console based application earlier. And then how you used to deliver the software? So CDs, let's say you want to install such a certain software. So you will ask me, hey Rajesh, do you have this CD, that CDs and all, right? And if you ask Microsoft how much time used to take to release the software, so they'll say 1 year. Okay, so suddenly then you have a questions in terms of software engineering. Then we'll say, okay, Microsoft Office is there, which was getting released in 1 year. we were delivering through the CDs. Once you install it, you can access through the console, and you setup time used to take 1 day overall from start to end, and that was a desktop. So what was the architecture of application at that time? Let's say let's become a software engineer suddenly, and then you'll say, oh, okay, what is architecture of MS Office? So at that time, monolithic. Okay, monolithic means you have a 200 feature in one software, but assemble it together in one package itself. That's called monolithic. And then you will ask, okay, at the time, what are the development model which was used? Waterfall. Nothing great. All of us, I believe, we know that. Correct now? Any confusion? Any questions? All of you? Hello?
No, Rajesh.
Okay, so now what has happened in 2000? So this is the waterfall model. Look at this. So in this model, if you look at this, this is the why it used to take 1 year, because first we analyze few months requirement, then few months design, then few months implementation, then few months verification, and then few months maintenance. That's the reason it's become 1 year. Okay. So the question you'll ask, why we were using the waterfall model at that time? Simple reason. We always want to improve the quality of the software, quality release, immediate release, and cost reduction in development and runtime. We were using that. See, before waterfall model also, if you look at this, waterfall model reduced the release cycle in 1 year. But if you go before than that, then software development used to take 5 years, 7 years, 10 years also. That was the kind of things. One software has to be developed by security agency of USA. The 7 years, 10 years, they will take it. So it was like that. Okay. So why we opted for waterfall model? Because of quality release in the software. You want to build the quality. You want to do the immediate release. 1 year it was the immediate release at that time. If you compare 1 year versus 7 years, then you will see the difference. And then cost reduction in the development and runtime. So that is something which we did. And then finally, once we were going through these transitions, we got the internet. Okay. So when we got the internet, nothing great, that we all are from the internet age, and we are started consuming application not on the console based, but the browser based. See how we transition. So from the console based to browser based. So when you want to have software running for in the browser, then we started changing many of the stuff. So what we did, because earlier, if you remember that, we were paying for the storage desktop. Let's say you want to access the website, application which is MS Word, you have to run in your own desktop. That means you are paying for CPU, RAM, and all stuff like that to running that software. You will run that in your laptop only, right? So laptop, it will consume CPU, RAM, storage, and operating system code. So now when we have started accessing application through the browser, then all the software we have started running in a virtual server. Why? Because virtual servers is the most precise way to run the software, and lower the cost of running the software. So data centers got set up. Instead of running the physical server, we started running the virtual server for reduction in. How much time it will take to set up a application in virtual server? You'll say 5 minutes, not. So see how much we reduce the time. Virtual servers 1 day to 5 minutes. Now if you started accessing application in the browser, how do you download the application, install and all? Through the download. And what was the release cycle? Is become 2 weeks. 2 weeks. So in that case, when you have a 2 weeks of release cycle, then which model is available for 2 weeks? Software development model. Anyone have idea? Any model in which we do the software development in 2 weeks?
Agile, we can say, or
Yeah. So see, earlier what we were doing the release in 1 year. Why? Because of model, waterfall model. It allows 2 months, 2 months, 2 months, 2 months for everything. But what has happened in 2000? Because we started offering the application on the browser. So let's say some issues in the software you have, so you can't say wait for 1 year, correct? You can't say like that. Wait for 1 year, I'll come back to you. So you have to fix it faster. Simple logic. What to do? So instead of what we did is really, I mean, the software scientist, would work on the process and practices. They say, let's do one thing. Let's not go for 1 year. Let's not do the 100 of release in one go. Let's release one feature at a time. Okay, so one feature will develop in 2 weeks. We'll plan, we'll develop, we'll test, we'll release everything we do in 2 weeks. So then people have to call out some name, right? So they started calling Agile. Agile again is a big topic, but I am assuming all of you are having understanding on Agile. So on Agile, what has happened? In Waterfall model, we were doing the release one in 1 year. In Agile, we started doing the 2 weeks. Everything small feature, but in 2 weeks you have to do the development and testing. And then architecture also got changed. You can't you can't run Agile in 2 weeks when you have old architecture where you have 200 feature in one package only. So we got separated all this component of monolithic and put it in SOA. SOA means service oriented architecture. That's where you hear, okay, web server keep it separate, database server keep it separate, uh, app server keep it separate, all this thing, business logic keep it separate. So this is something which we did in the 2000, and all of us, I am assuming, we know that, correct? No, any questions, any doubts, all of you?
No, Rajesh, but oriented architecture, right? Where we can see web soap services and all that. But monolithic, we didn't have too much idea about that. So I think definitely there is a 10,000 lines of code, right? So that I think we didn't use it. Yeah.
Monolithic means you have used it. Did you not install MS Word in, I mean, MS Office in your laptop? That was
Yeah,
a
yeah,
one
I did it.
package. Monolithic,
Okay,
that's a monolithic software. But when
okay,
you
okay.
install some software like some web-based software like web server, Apache or Nginx, app server like Tomcat, database server like MySQL and all, so that's a web server, SOA architecture.
Yeah, services. Yeah, yeah, got it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so that is we are doing in 2000. Then what to do in 2020? So before that, let's understand this is agile process. Okay, those who have no idea about agile sprint, agile, Scrum, Kanban, and all, I would ask you to take a personal notes, just to do some simple things, simple study through some tutorials, and you'll understand the agile. But in a nutshell, if you do agile, what do you do? Large task you convert into the multiple subtask, and that subtask you do in the 2 weeks of sprint. Okay, and all the teams coming together. Remember that earlier, this is a very important statement. Earlier in the waterfall model, dev team were separate, architect team were separate, testing team were separate, and release team were separate. Mind it. But in 2000, what has happened? Because of Agile, what we did, planning team, dev team, and testing team, we keep it in a one team itself. I repeat, in the Agile model, what we do, we have a development team, plan team, and testing team. We have in a one team only, and we call it a Agile team. Will you remember this statement, all of you?
Yeah, Rajesh. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is a Scrum. Okay, release teams were not a part of the Scrum. So then you will ask Rajesh, why we migrated from model for waterfall to agile? Simple, same reason actually. Nothing great. That's what I'm saying. Nothing great you are learning. Okay. So same reason we had earlier. We wanted to improve the quality of the software. We wanted to do the further reduce the release time and the cost reduction in development runtime. Now we have changed actually. Our world has changed over the period of time. If you look at it. So now earlier browser, but if I ask, let's say my sisters and brothers, those are not software engineers. So if I ask, how do you consume the application? They say mobile. All of us, we are software engineer. We are sitting in front of laptop, so we are using browser. Correct now. But if you look at that, and a laptop we are using. But if you look at the people like those who are consuming the software, how do they consume? But device only. Correct now. So they are not using the website but applications. A lot of applications you have for each and everything, you have applications. Okay. Now here we all are connected. Okay. Think about it. When I say connected means, let's say I'm using the same WhatsApp what you are using. I'm using the same Facebook, what you're using. I'm using the same LinkedIn, which you're using. I'm using same Uber, what you're using. I'm saying same Ola, what you're using. Using same Zomato, what you're using. I'm using same HDFC Bank, what you're using. We are connected, all of us. Okay, we all are connected to each other, same using the same services. So now let's say if Ola is down for 5 seconds, I repeat 5 seconds, what will happen? All of you. If Ola is down for 5 seconds, what will happen?
Yeah, so customer unable to take any trips.
No, no, no. You will not do that. You will not think about it anything. Immediately migrate to Uber. Simple.
Oh, okay, okay. Different option. Yeah.
Yeah. 5 seconds. It was down. You migrated to Uber. So we are in the world of like that. It should not be down for even 5 seconds. Not even 1 second. It should be down. And not is it's in terms of down, but it should be available with the speed, reliable, scalable, all this stuff. So what we need again? So we need to improve the quality again. We need to reduce the cost again. We need to speed up the software development releases and all. Again, same reason. We People started asking quality release, immediate release, cost reduction in development and runtime. So if you look at this current software domain, we have one version of software. Yeah. Earlier, if you look at this, we had a multiple version of software, but now we have one version of software. And everyone is connected together, and 24 by 7 it has to be up and running without a no downtime, with no downtime. Okay. So that's the characteristics of the current software development. So what we started to migrate, what we started to migrate. So then people say, hey, let's do one thing. We want to reduce the cost of the software development. Let's migrate to containers. Okay. So now, do you know container? What is container? What is Docker? If you don't know, I'll teach you. Okay. With the help of containers, you can set up the application in 1 second. See the chat transition. Okay. And consumptions, how do we do that? Through apps. How do we deliver the software? Through the stores. What is the release cycle? Maybe 1 hour. Now you'll say, Rajesh, we were doing the software development in 2 weeks earlier. Now, how can you say you will do the software development in 1 hour? Correct now? Think about it. You have to migrate from the 2000 era to 2020 era. So, ask yourself this question: how can we have a software running in 1 second? How can we reduce the release cycle from 2 weeks to 1 hour, maybe lesser than that? What is the answer? So, you have to change the architecture of applications also, and that's where the microservices come in it. So, what has happened earlier? I'm talking the app server. So, you have hundreds of functionality in one app server. Now, what we do, these hundreds of functionality, we divide into the multiple microservices, and now we got 100 microservices. Earlier we had a one service, now we have hundreds of microservices. For hundreds of microservices, you have 1 hour release cycle. Are you understanding, all of you?
Yeah.
Okay, let me put it in a simple way. I don't want to come out of the slides. So let's say this is the your software. How many features you have? Let's say 100 features. Okay. How many teams is working for this? Let's say 100 people. 100 feature, 100 team. 100 team which is responsible for development, testing and planning and all stuff like that. So this was a, let's say, SOA based concept, service oriented architecture. In the microservices, what we did, for releasing, how much time it taking? 2 weeks. So in the microservices concept, what we did, we said, hey, divide this service into the multiple microservice. So divide this one feature here 2 feature, 3 feature, 4 feature, keep it separate. Okay, like this. So earlier, how much code you had in this combined one? Let's say 1 million code. Now, how much code you have here? 1000 lines of code. Simple. See that? Correct now? So 1000 and maybe 5000 code. Let's take 5000. Now, how many people were working together and integrating their work? 100. Now, only 2 people will be there. 1 people will be there. And how many features you got? Only 4 method you got. CRUD, create, read, update, and delete. This is the 4 feature you have to modify this. So now let me ask you one question. Earlier we had hundreds of features that got separated to one feature, 4 method. How many people are needed for planning, coding, development, and testing? Tell me, only 5000 lines of code is there. How many people are needed? Only for this, focus on it. Tell me.
2 to 3.
Maximum 2 to 3. In most of the cases, one only. Correct now?
Yeah.
So when you have only 5000 of code, how much time it will take to plan? Let's say you got bugs, 5 to 10 minutes you will spend on that. Your development, just 4 method, right? You have to, because you are already working day and night, 5 minutes of work. Testing, 5 minutes. You don't want to test everything, you want to just test this one. 15 minutes and your release is ready. 1 or 2 people is more than sufficient. Understood that? So that is the kind of model we are getting into that. So architecture which is called microservices. So now people started talking about, okay, how can we, so earlier we got a waterfall model, then we got agile model. So many of the new things has come up in 2020s or earlier. So what we call it, and this is called, we call it DevOps model. Are you understanding, all of you?
Yeah.
Simple. So this is the way we are transforming actually into the DevOps. But still, what is DevOps? We don't know. So in order to understand the DevOps, you need to understand what is container, what is microservices, what is DevOps, what is CI/CD, what is SRE, what is DevSecOps. So all these things I'm going to teach you as part of this session. Okay. Okay. So now, what do you want? What is your objective? Or what is the characteristic of your today's application? So if you look at this, most of these are software as a service based application. One version of software. Everyone is connected together. The software has to be run 24/7 up and running with no downtime. What do you want? Every organization want to have, see, these 3 lines will never leave you till lifetime once you are in software engineering. See, now you're talking about the DevOps, after a few years, again, some process will come, IoT, robotics or something. So you'll have to transform into that. So quality release, immediate release, and cost reduction you want again on the top of existing one. So now when you want to have the same thing, then you have Agile team, correct? When you want to migrate to DevOps process, so this one of the things which you see is Agile team, right? So what you see, you want to reduce the release cycle in 1 hour, okay, 1 hour. But if you look at the reality, your team is working in an isolated environment. That means dev team is separate. See, there's one product, multiple team, dev team, testing team, uh, what do you say, ops team, architect team, client team, all that separate. So once you integrate their work in a certain fashion, so that consume lots of time actually. Okay, I'll put it in this way, very simple way. Let's say all of us, all of you let's say, are supposed to do one work. Okay, so Sushmita is in Chennai, Prasanna is in Delhi, and Maulik is in, let's say, Kolkata, and I'm in Bangalore. Okay, so all of us are working for the same project, but because we are working not in an integrated fashion, so any work will be delayed. You integrations will be delayed. So that is where basically where we spend time. So what we are trying to do, because this model of software, I mean this architecture of team anatomy, which delay the things, so we want to destroy this team actually. Mind it, we want to destroy this team. So then we'll say what exactly you are trying to do. So here you have four team: development, architecture, testing, and operations. We want to destroy that. So how do you destroy that? I'll talk about in some time. But if you look at this year, the today's challenges for IT organization is like they want to reduce the release cycle, they want to reduce the cost in development, cost in running the software. But the challenges what they are facing is, from waterfall model and from the agile model, the lots of uh, asset you got inherited. What inherited, and what you inherited from the old model. So you inherited multiple teams, you got it. Everyone have a multiple tools, multiple culture you have, multiple mindset you have, multiple processes you have, multiple practices from the different team, and multiple phases. So the idea is, how do we integrate, how do we have one team, common tool, common culture and mindset, common process, common practices, and so on. How can we have it? Okay, so because this is delaying the software release cycle actually. Different mindset, different culture, different tool set. So how do we integrate it? How do we, you know add multiple teams into one team? So you have analysis team, design team, development team, testing team, deployment team. How do we add it into the one team? Okay, there's a multiple tools are there. How do we integrate all these tools? Okay, how do we integrate? There's a multiple phases are there. Okay, how do we integrate all these phases so it should run automatically? You see, design, development, testing, deployment, okay. So idea is phases. Idea is, how do we integrate all the teams phases and all, and achieve, how do we do the quality release, how do we do the immediate release, and how do we do the cost reduction? That is again same question again and again. So what to do? So earlier we had a waterfall model, then agile model, and then we have a DevOps approach. Are you understanding, all of you, at the idea why how we are migrating slowly into the DevOps and the challenges
Uh,
along with it?
yeah, Rajesh, but can I ask a question if you don't mind?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so if we talk about the journey from waterfall to agile to DevOps approach, okay, but currently
Hmm.
the model which we have been working, so our developers are still working in a 2 weeks or 4 week sprint basically. Okay, so we have the
Hmm.
Jenkins, we have the let's say Docker and all that content, all that we are using. Okay, but
Right.
still we are following the same approach. Though we are using Confluence for the documentation part, we have architects. Okay, but my point is basically if we consider DevOps approach, but still we are following that 2 or 4 week sprint backlog, and then still we are continuing with that.
Yeah. So see, I'll put it in this way. Uh, Now I'm teaching you something, and but in reality there's something. So what is
Yeah,
happening from last 5 6 years? Everyone wants to implement the DevOps. Okay, everyone. When I say everyone means organization, not you and me. Okay, so organization wants to implement the DevOps. Why? Because that way they can, get all this that advantage. Okay, okay. So, but what is happening in reality? We as a people don't want to change. Don't want to change. For example, uh, if I ask you, just Answer me honestly. If I ask you, hey, today you were doing architecture work or maybe development work, and then next day because we want to migrate to DevOps, and if I ask you, you have to become an architect for your microservices, and you have to become a developer also, and you need to become a tester also for your microservices, and then you have to do the operations also. All four work you have to do only for one microservices. So would you do that?
No, no.
That is a problem. So here the organization wants to implement the DevOps, right? DevOps, but there are lots of things which we have inherited from the past 20, 30 years through the Waterfall model and Agile model. We don't want to change that. We don't want to change that. And because of that, we don't want to change this. Because of that, we see the reality is different, and so, DevOps, the concept which I'm talking about, is different. So what is happening? Many people, many teams, what they did, they created a fake cell. Actually, fake shell means they created. There is a DevOps team. There is a development team. There is a architect team. There is a testing team. There is a operations team, and there is a DevOps team also. So what they converted actually, the IT team or CI/CD team, build and release team, into DevOps team, and they created one new team. But actually, in reality, there is no multiple team in the product. It should not be. There should be only one DevOps team, and who should be doing the architecting also, planning also, development also, testing also, and operations also. So all these things will be done by only one team. But what we did in reality, we had all this team, and plus we added one more team which is called DevOps team, and they will suggest me what to be, how to, get into the DevOps operations and all. So that is a mistake what we have made it. Many of the organization made it, and that is something which we have. In fact, if you look at this last week, if you read this. Uh, the statement which was made by Google. Google has said to their employees, managers primarily, they say either you convert into the IC role. ICU role means start contributing at the code level and plan level and testing level, or leave the organizations. Okay, because earlier they were trying to convert into the DevOps approach. This was not happening. So finally, they have taken a decisions on this. Getting points, all of you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so meaning of the DevOps is something different, but you see in the organization, it has been implemented in the different way, and that is where you need to know the right definition of DevOps. So you can argue that, you can question that why we are not following best practices of DevOps, and then you see lots of challenges and how to fix that. That is the DevOps, in fact, also. Okay, so this is something which we have. So finally, what is a DevOps? Still, we are not able to understand. So let's try to understand this way. I'll just skip some of the slides. This statement is very important. Okay, I don't know how many of you understand, but I would like you to spend time on it. People, if you really want to change, these statements are very important. I can call myself DevOps. Okay, I can call myself DevOps if I am ready for coding for the product, or I'm ready for the coding for the testing the product, or I'm ready for the coding for infra, CI, CD, integration, operation, and SRE for building and running the software. So I can call myself a DevOps. So you know what? In the software engineering, DevOps basically is one team with shared work. There's no multiple team. There is no dev team, there is no QA team, there is no testing team, there is no operations team, there is no architect team. There is one team which is called DevOps team, and in that you have, let's say, 5 people, 10 people, or 20 people. They share the resource, share the work, and anyone can code for anything. It's a coding only. Everywhere you see coding only. Okay. So here coding for the function, coding for the testing the function, and coding for the infra CI/CD now. And that is the reason if you look at this, the course which I designed. Okay. So here, if you look at this, go to this. Here I am teaching you some of the platform related stuff. So here containers you will learn, cloud you will learn, an operating system. And here I'm teaching you to become an architect also. But suddenly if you see that here I'm becoming asking you to become a programmer. Okay, so these all are the programmer tools here. Look at this, these all are the programming tools. And suddenly I migrated to testing team also. See here. And then suddenly the CI/CD work and all here, and then suddenly I migrated to operations. Are you see that?
Yeah.
So this is the way. So you have to code everywhere. So many people say, "Hey Rajesh, I want to learn DevOps. I want to get very good salaries and all kind of things, but I don't want to learn coding." See, how can you skip this? How can you become a software engineer without a coding? Yeah, you may have option to select what coding you needed. You may be doing the coding in Ansible. Okay, maybe see everywhere it's coding. See here also coding, here also coding or scripts, lots of SQL, I mean SQL bits, there are lots of queries are there. Here you have coding in Jenkins pipeline. Here also have coding, here also coding, here also coding. So the here also coding you have it, here also we have coding. So everywhere the coding is there. The only thing is what coding you write. Maybe you're writing Java code, or maybe Selenium code, or maybe YAML code, maybe Terraform code, depends on that. So coding is everywhere. Make sense? So you have to set your mindset. If you really want to learn DevOps, you have to accept. First, you have to tell your mind, okay, I can do the coding. I'm ready for the coding, and I will learn the coding. And coding is very easy to do that. Easy to test, easy to learn, easy to share. All these things. So if you tell your mind, then only the transition towards the DevOps engineering will become a smooth. Make sense?
So Rajesh, does it mean that, so let's say point number one, two, three, and a point number four, I'm thinking in my head that maintenance and monitoring part, I think it is not taken care by the any, to be very honest, whatever the developer we have it, right? So there is a separate team we have it. And
Yeah.
yeah, apart from this, if we talk about the DevOps approach, then is it something that uh, this approach is applicable only who can able to do the coding or something like that? Because I'm just thinking from our perspective as well.
That's what I'm saying. See here, everywhere you need to code. See, understand this way. Without a coding, you cannot automate the process. Simple. You see, without a coding, here you need to run shell scripting. Here AWS CloudFormation or Terraform. Here there is a composer. Here some Java Jira queries. Here Python coding. Here you have to write all these commands and all. Here again some YAML, some pom, depends on your build tools, pom.xml and all. Here pom.xml Gradle. So everywhere there is a coding. Now what I'm trying to say to all of you, don't get scared. These codings are very simple to do that. Okay. The only thing is you have to tell your mindset you are ready to accept it or not. Okay. Without a coding, DevOps is not possible. Without a coding, integration is not possible. Without a coding, CI/CD is not possible. Without a coding, automation is not possible. If you don't do that, someone else will do that, but it has to be done. Make sense? Again, level of coding has to be done. That I'll teach you. How to code in Ansible, I'll teach you. How to code in Terraform, I'll teach you. How to write a shell scripting, I'll teach you. How to write a pipeline code, I'll teach you. That's very easy. All of it. Makes sense? How to write a Python program, I'll teach you. How to write a Selenium code, I'll teach you. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so please always keep in mind, if you don't want to fool yourself, accept the reality. Without a coding, nothing works. In fact, after the Chat GPT, if you look at it, lots of job anyways is going. I mean, many nowadays people are saying, "Hey, we have 5 engineers. Why do we need it? Because whatever the solution you wanted, you have experience, 5 years, 10 years of experience. You can speed working with the Bard and Chat GPT or something like that. So that way anyway. So you have to accept the reality and you have to tell your minds, let's start learning all this stuff. Okay, so let's keep it. So here, many people think DevOps is like a development team and operations team. Combine it. Okay, one more thing. When it's a development team, it's not only the one who's writing a code. QA is also coming under development team here. Okay, so development team. So let's combine the dev and ops team, and then you'll become a DevOps. Actually, it's not. So DevOps is not a tool. Okay, see, it's a bad marketing is happening in the world right now. So many people say, "Hey, DevOps tool." No, there is no as such like a DevOps tool. It's all marketing actually. Many people say DevOps means automating everything. Many people say DevOps means I have an access right for everything, so I am a DevOps. And many people say, hey, there is a DevOps team apart from the Dev plus QA team, so that is a DevOps team. No, this is not the way. DevOps is all about how effectively we communicate. I told you, four people are working and at a four different location. How do we communicate? How do we understand? How do we integrate and relationship, build a relationship with each other, with a team? That is called DevOps. So I'll put it in this way: there's a two team. There's a two guy who's one is writing a code for the product and one is writing a code for the testing the product. If they can integrate very well, understand very well each other, and the work can be done in 5 minutes, that is called DevOps. But if you say, hey, okay, there's a one guy who's writing a code for the product, there's another guy who's writing a code for testing the product, and then they are integrating their work in a 2 days or 3 days, that is not a DevOps. That is still Agile or Waterfall. Okay, so it's all about the communication, understanding, integration, and the relation, building up the relationship. Okay, so DevOps is not a new technology or a new product. This is a just approach or culture which you need to change. Your change mindset. That's a you say simply we say change your mindset. DevOps is done. It's an approach for software development and culture which is built in your software development team that seek stability and performance at the same time. That means give me the work, stable work, quality work, but give me faster also. Stability and performance. Stability means quality. Performance means immediate release. Okay. So give me the both the same time that it speeds software deliveries to the business. Because I told you why they want to speed up the software deliveries. You know the reason. If you are not having the Ola accessible from the for 5 seconds, where do you go? Uber because of this. Understanding all of you?
Yeah, Rajesh. But Rajesh, if you okay, so the point
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
you said Chat GPT. So I have gone through that article in YouTube, and also I heard from my relative and all that it will replace the developer, right? And now we are talking about everybody has to move to the DevOps, let's say DevOps engineer, let's say, right? But
Huh.
going
No,
forward, I think
actually,
this tool. Yeah,
see, the problem
yeah,
here is
please.
I'll tell you. With the introduction of Chat GPT, DevOps requirement will be more. You will have a more DevOps requirement compared to the last. Why? I'll tell you. Please understand that DevOps is the team which take care of 100% of your product, and the team you may have people who's acting like a developer for the product, testing for the product, and operation CI/CD. Everyone has to be done by one team. You may have a 5 team or 10 team or 12 team. It's a one team. So far in reality we don't see there's a one team, there's a multiple team, and there's a one plus DevOps team. So with the introduction of Chat GPT, what will happen? See, coding probably you are able to get it the logic from the Chat GPT or Bard, but integration still required, right? Where to put it, how to put it, how to connect it, how to connect this one with the other stuff. There are lots of tools we are using nowadays, how to integrate properly. So if you have a DevOps knowledge, you'll be able to become a better engineers rather than you have only development knowledge or testing knowledge. Getting my points? because you know the DevOps knows what where to start, where to end, and all the tools which is used, and where to integrate, and how to automate all this process. So you know everything. But whereas development only know that, okay, how to develop this code, how to make it functional. That's all. How to host, how to release that, how to operation, how to SRE, how to CI/CD, that they don't have that knowledge. So they have to learn also.
Yeah, that is what I'm trying to say. So in Chat GPT, I think going forward, that algorithm so software itself learn, right? So algorithm has to be changed. So going forward, is it possible that algorithm is aligned with the Chat GPT? So whatever the integration part we are talking about.
See, this is a very early stage of
Okay.
transformation. So it's very difficult to tell in what way it will turn out. Very difficult to predict. But one thing for sure is like uh, uh, one thing for sure, any UI based operations which you've been doing, let's say I was doing some manual work or UI based work, and I was just passing my days instead of learning new technologies. So that in a new near future, I think my job will be over in the market. Okay. So if you are not able to contribute towards some algorithm, some coding, some integrations, and so that job is in danger. So that is something which I feel. Okay. So if you think, okay, I mean, many people I know that,
Okay.
I'll tell you, I've been doing this training from last 6 7 years, earlier before I was working. So I see like many people have a mindset, hey, I want to become a DevOps engineer. I want to earn 20 30 lakhs rupees per month, per year, and but I don't want to do the coding. So that is a mindset which is killing actually everyone. Because if you think, oh, you learn Jenkins, click here and there, and you learn 30 lakhs rupees, tell me who is the fool? Companies are fool? Do you think companies are fool? They don't know. They are not fool actually. We are fooling ourselves. We are fooling ourselves. Okay. So it has to be output driven. It has to be, result oriented. Because if you think you cannot do that, and if someone else will do that at cheaper cost, when I say someone else, that means other person and chat GPT or some robots also, if they can do the cheaper cost, you will be replaced within a few months itself. Correct. So yeah, that is, you have to understand. So my suggestion would be, in fact, I am learning. See, I'm having close to 18 plus experience. Every day I'm learning new things. You must be thinking, why I have to learn it? If I want to survive in this industry, I have to learn. Simple. So you probably, employers spend 8 hours of time uh, for their job in the software company. I need to spend 12 hours, 15 hours of my time for this, because I need to learn more than you. I cannot say I will work only 8 hours and then. So this is up to you to decide whether you want to change your mindset. You are willing to change your mindset. You have to inform your mind saying that, hey, I have to learn the coding. And coding is very easy to learn. That is a two-line statement you have to tell. If you have these two lines in your mind, then everything is possible. Okay. So now the question is, what is a DevOps? So DevOps is a cultural change. Okay, cultural change, mindset change. Why? So you have a reason I have shown you multiple times: quality release, immediate release, and cost reduction. That's the three things. Who set this objective? Organization, and you need to fulfill. In order to deliver, in order to become a DevOps team, there's something has to be changed. Okay, and that I'll discuss now. What things you have to change. So every project, if you look at it more or less, they have finishing late, okay, or exceeding the budget, and they have a lots of quality issues. Finishing late means my deadline is this month, you are releasing the software next month. Exceeding a budget means my budget development cost for the software was 100 rupees, and we have 150 rupees development cost. Increase that. Quality issues means software is released in the market, but there are lots of bugs, technical debt you have. So quality issues. So these are the problems you often see in the every software development companies. So this is something which is a pain area for the organizations. So some of the other pain area which is painful outages. Let's say let's say Jaya, can you do this coding in one day? So you will say, Rajesh, I can do the coding in one day. That's not a problem. But there is a problem is like for this coding, I need to talk to the architect team. I need to have this software. I need to have that software, hardware, all this kind of setup. So you'll say I can do the coding in one day, but there's a things which is dependent on this code, and the other components are not available. Why this is not available? Because of you have to structure your team in a certain way. So to get the help for this work, it required lots of process, meeting, invitation, discussion, this, that, and all. So this is called painful outages. So if I need software, it's not available at that moment. You may get it, but not now. After some time, so that's one of the problem. Why you have this kind of outages? So because of you are following earlier waterfall model, and different process were there, different practices were there, different mindsets were there. Okay, so that's one of the stuff. No incremental value. So nowadays, if you look at this one of the challenges what each organization is saying. If software is running, don't touch it. Simple. I am putting in a very simple way. If software is running, don't touch it. And because you are not touching it, because of scaring environment, so because of that, you are not able to improve it. Simple. So when you are not able to improve it, that software will die in the next few years. I think some of you might have worked in that environment. I also have worked in that environment. Okay, so if the incremental values are not there, organization will die over the period of time. Slow IT. I want some IT infrastructure for development or testing now, but because of slow IT, it will give me after 2 days. So I will do the release third day, correct? So that's one of the problems which you have it. We have infighting issues also. See, remember that idea of the DevOps is to have one team, but if here we have a multiple team. So when we have a multiple team, we will have a fighting also. Look at this. So why we have a fighting between the countries, but not within a countries? Because we think all of us are from the same country, so we should not fight. But again, the fighting will happen with other country, correct? So same way in the software development, there is only one goal, and that too, that goal I have published multiple times for the organization, but there is a multiple teams actually. So multiple teams, multiple process, multiple concept, multiple mindset, multiple culture. So they simply fight with each other, saying that okay, why the release has not happened? So if you ask operations team will blame QA team, saying that they have not given the packages on time. QA team will blame on development team till last moment the changes were happening. The development team were blaming on the architecture team, saying that hey, last till last moment you were giving the requirement. All this thing. So there's a lots of fighting happens. This fighting will get immediately stopped when you have one team. So merge these four people, four different types of team into one team, that's called DevOps team, and immediately fighting will stop. You can't blame each other because you are a team and you have to work with each other very closely, understand communications and all stuff like that, integrate, and then things will happen. Are you understanding all of you?
Uh,
Yes.
yeah, Rajesh. Yeah, but Rajesh, one question at my end.
Yeah. Yeah, tell me.
Uh, Yeah, so a couple of PPTs or couple of images I have gone through from the internet basically. So
Yeah.
where they talk about the DevOps environment. So there are two different teams there. I'm just trying to tell you what I understood
Yeah.
from those content. So they are
Mhm.
talking about that there are two different teams. One is development team, and there is ops team. And whenever there is a new increment happen by the development team, and testing to be happen, and operations team has to be informed by the dev team. So in couple of slides or content, I can see that they are showing as a two different team basically. So is it something like that? So according to
No,
your yeah.
that's not a DevOps. That's SRE actually. That is a model which was proposed by Google actually. So that's what I said. in the market there's so many confusion about the DevOps. Everyone have defined the DevOps in their own understanding and their own way. Okay, and I am putting the points not from my side, the one who introduced the DevOps, what they talked about the DevOps, I'm introducing you. So I'll put it in a very simple way so you understand this. Okay, so understand this. This is the ultimately there's a era one. I'll put it up era one. Okay, and in that we had architect team, and then we had a development team. Architect means plan team, okay, and a DevOps team. No, sorry, dev team, and then we had a QA team,
Yes.
and then we have a operations team. These are the four teams. Correct now?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
correct. Yeah.
And after that, these people were doing the releases in 1 year. Why? Because we had a waterfall model 1 year and waterfall model. I talked about this one stuff. Okay, think in simple way, not complicate your mindset. So this is a 1 year waterfall model. So this were a work in isolated. They will work in 2 months, then 2 months, four, then 2 months, then 2 months. So 8 months it become release cycle. Let's say 8 months, or make it 3 months, 3 months to one year. Then era two has started, which I talked about it. In that, what happened? These three teams combined together, and we call it Agile team.
Agile, yeah.
Yeah, and then Agile team, and then operations team were separate. Correct, no?
Yeah,
And then release were that 2 weeks. You know that that's nothing great. All of us, we are practicing the Agile from last 10 years. Correct. So this model, what we call Agile. Now this is, we practiced 10 years, but we got to know, like, again we have to improve the immediate release, quality release, and cost reductions, what to do further. So then era third has come, and then in era third, what we do, we decided, okay, let's do one thing, because we want to reduce the release cycle to one. So do one thing, there's a gap between those engineering team. This is quality engineering team, where we have a development QA and what is this, architect. So all these things. So what we decided, let's do one thing, combine all these teams together, and DevOps. Then people started fighting and make it one hour of release. So then people started fighting. So what fighting? So they started saying that, how can we do that release in 1 hour? How can this be possible? You are combining all of this team. That's okay. So these different tools, different mindset, different process, different practices. You're combining all these people into one team, and that's you're calling a DevOps team. Okay, that's okay, no problem. But how can we do in 1 hour? Then that is where the scientist came and said, hey, let's do one thing. Let's follow the microservices. This is the one. Don't do everything. You are not allowed. You're not. I'm not asking you to do everything. Okay, there's a DevOps team. Let's say team 10 people, and 10 people will do the plan also. Mind it, each people will do the plan also. I'm just putting in a very simple way, not complicating. Plan, and what next, code also, and what next, testing also, and operations also. So now this you have to do by one of each people, or maybe team of two people, and that is called DevOps team. So then people started saying, how come that is possible? So that is where that scientist said, okay, do one thing, change the platform. Change the platform means migrate to the VMs to container, VMs to container. So here you will save time, correct? Here you will save time, because earlier you were setting up the environment in 1 hour, now 1 second. Also, Kubernetes has come. Many other monitoring tool has come to become operational. So here, this all this has been, multiple testing tool have come. So what we are trying to say here, these people will do everything, but not you are doing for every software. You are taking one module. This is the one module, maybe 5,000 lines of code, and here this 5,000 lines of code, you will do the planning also, development also, testing also, operations also. Let me ask you in a very simple way. Very simple way. You are a software engineer. You are software engineer. In your lifetime, being a software engineer, can't you manage 5,000 lines of code, four feature, four functions? Can't you plan, develop, test, and operationalize only 5,000 lines of code? Can't you do that? Being a software engineer? Then what is the use of? Are you understanding, all of you?
yeah, yeah.
Simple. So that is what organization, I mean, that is what organization wants to do that. So people, what they want to have combine all this team and they call it a DevOps. They want to call it a DevOps team, and this DevOps team, you have a 10 or 20 or 15 people, and they should do everything. And that's the reason I said one slide where I showed you, if you remember, this one. Okay, and for that reason only, here if you look at my code, my syllabus, every sort of tool has been added. So you can learn architecting, you can learn platform, you can learn coding, you can learn testing, you can learn operations, CI/CD and all. You can learn this operation monitoring also. Getting opens, all of you?
Yeah, Rajesh. But Rajesh,
So
as
you
per my
said,
understanding, this is my knowledge basically.
so you
Yeah, sorry.
said there is a development team and operations team, and this they will work together with a more integrated way, more closer way. So this is not called DevOps. This is called SRE. So let me show you one slide. It will avoid the confusion. Just give me a second, because slide will feed you in your mind immediately rather than me talking. Just a second. So see that here earlier there is a two teams, development team which include dev testing team and operations team. And earlier we were working in an isolated environment. But if you look at this here, now what they're doing, they still you have a two team, development team and SRE team, but they are collaborating, integrating, and they are involved in the discussions and all during design, development, acceptance, delivery, support and all. So this is SRET. Make sense? Introduced by Google. So now you will say, what is a DevOps? So DevOps is everything. Let me show you. See here. A team which is called DevOps team will do everything. Make sense now?
Yeah.
Okay. More questions, guys?
Rajesh, one or two questions still running. Sorry to say, but
Yeah.
if we talk about the shorter timeline for the developer, right? So actually, once the code is written, someone architect or some senior person has to review that code, kind of refactor and all that, right? That is not happening because of a shortened timeline. I just see that a couple of issues in the some other organizations as well. Okay, so
No,
first
not
thing, so
required.
someone,
Not required. Not required. If you look at this here, this is happening actually, but automated way. The moment you commit the code, automatically scan is happening. Automated way. That is the you see the selected it, code analysis and securing automated. So using SonarQube.
yeah,
So it's
Sonar, yes,
happening.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's automated. So that's what I'm saying. If something can be automated, you have to look at it. If something can be automated, why we need people? Okay. So
But
that
still,
is
still we require the some review, na? Even though sonar cannot be can do everything. So, so suppose that one junior is there, he is writing the code. So maybe performance wise,
so you
that
have a
code
team,
will.
no? Mind it. I'm not saying you're working alone. You have a team. It's a DevOps team, I'm saying. You have a
Okay.
team of multiple capabilities and you will work together. So let's say one junior guy is there in the same team. One senior is guy is in same team. So I can, let's say I'm a junior, you are a senior. I can directly come to your desk or directly call out for the meeting and ask what is the feedback. And within a 5 minutes, you will share the feedback. Why? Why you share the feedback immediately? Because I'm your team. But this,
So
just think about it.
1 hour, no, what you are saying that 1 hour it is feasible in real life?
1 hour, yeah, that's what I was trying to tell. If you are in migrating to the microservices, 1 hour is feasible. 1 hour is feasible. Why? I'll tell you. See, I'm not asking you to write the entire functionality in 1 hour. All I'm asking, there is a, see, there is a one microservices, 5,000 lines of code divided into the four function: create, read, update, and delete. And there is a some bugs available in the edit. Maybe you have a 10 lines of code, and you know that bugs. So how much time it takes to modify this change? Remember that you are the person who's managing only 5,000 lines of code, only 4 function. How much time it will take? Few minutes. How much time to build? Few minutes. How much time to do the automated testing? Few minutes. And how much time to deploy using the Kubernetes or something? Few minutes. It's possible. And so for that you need to know the software involved in it. That's what I'm saying. You committed the code here. Automated scanning has happened here. Automated build has happened here. Automated packaging has happened here. Automated testing has happened here. Automated deployment has happened here and here. And after that, automated monitoring is happening here. Everything is automated. So that's the reason I'm asking you to learn all these tools. Getting on?
Even suppose for the old, yeah, some old feature is there, to change that it is fine, but for new feature, if you have the some
For new
complexity
feature
on that,
is a new feature. We are not expecting the release, right? Remember that
yeah,
here all I'm asking, see, I'm not asking you Ola is down for 5 seconds. Ola is not asking you to develop a new feature to get rid of that issues, right?
okay,
It might
okay,
take
okay,
1 month, 2 months, 3 months to develop.
okay, okay, got it.
Yeah. So
In
here the idea
that
is
way it is in that
here
way
the
it is feasible. Suppose that some issue is there and that bug is coming and we need to
no
resolve that
idea is
bug.
idea is very simple. You have a application like LinkedIn, Facebook, Ola, Uber, Micro, HDFC Bank ID, and all stuff. You cannot make it down for even 1 second. That is a problem. And to make this not a downtime, you have to reduce the release cycle. You can't say, let's say HDFC Bank is down, and you can't say, hey, I will take a 2 weeks for release fixing that issue. You can't say like that. It's an obvious common question. You think about it. If HDFC will say, hey, I will fix this bugs in 2 weeks, will you accept it?
No,
Tell me.
that
So
will not work. Not work.
yeah. So Rajesh, Prabhat and I or others are also thinking from development work from the scratch. So that is why I think this question came up from in our mind.
Yeah. Yeah. For the scratch, again, new feature will take few months. That again, it will take a few months or few weeks, depends on the number of features. Maybe a week. Nowadays, everything is all over the API. So it will take new features. You can come up with the one week or something. That is not a problem.
That way it will work, yeah. Even though the
Yeah.
new feature is there, one new feature is coming like a API to update, yeah, something, you need to think about that what are the condition is there. So in that way it
Using
will take at least 2 days, yeah, 1 days it will take at least to complete that work. Yeah,
using Kubernetes, you can make the services live. If you have a code ready, tested code and all, we can make a code live within 5 seconds in Kubernetes. Production ready code. And how much time it to write? If you know what you need to write, only 4 function. Each microservices you have to write only 4 function. I'm always saying 4 function. Why? Create function, read function, update function, delete function. In HTTP, we say get, put, post, and delete. Correct, no? So you have to write a one code which will do the only 4 function. How much time it will take to write a 4 function? If you are a programmer, if you know the requirement, maybe few hours. Correct, no? Correct. Let me. Okay, so I think you have to change your mindset. Let me give you some quick demo for that. Okay, so go for Chat GPT. Look at my screen, all of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look at my screen. This is a Chat GPT, and my questions I'm writing. Write a code in PHP or Python. Write a code in Python. Write a code in Python. Okay, which has 4 CRUD functions, which would take input uh, of my name and sorry, age. So here I have given a specification, and let's just a second refresh it. You should not get scared with the things. See, I don't want to bluff you saying that hey, you can become a DevOps engineer by learning only few tools like Jenkins and all. It's just fooling you and everyone else. Okay, this is not a reality. And on top of that, I said coding is very simple. You have to change your mindset. Okay, so now you see that here there's a function here, create record. This is the create record, update record, same thing, CRUD I said, right? And what? Last one, delete one.
Delete, yeah.
Yeah, delete record. That's all. How much time it has taken? Let me tell you, it's not a fake code. It's a real code. If you know the Python, you know that. How much time it has taken? 20 seconds. Look at this: calling create, record, reading record, calling updating record, and deleting record. Functional code you have in few seconds. So that's what I'm
Uh,
asking you. I am asking you to think in this way. There's a software. You have a 200 functionality. You don't have to worry about 200 functionality. You have to worry about only one feature. Only one feature has a for method, and that 5,000 lines of code. Here you have 100 lines, but if you load that in the web server and all, you'll become 5,000 lines of code. That you need to manage. Are you understanding now?
okay, so Rajesh, I think I got your point. Basically, the lines which has been executed by the Chat GPT, there are 30 or 40 lines. So those lines can be written by the developer quickly as well. So I think
Yes, yes,
that,
yes.
yeah, okay, okay, I got it.
Yeah, these are the function. This is a dev function. This is one function, function 2, function 3, and function 4. This is small code, and this is the calling function. That's all. What else you need to write? This is what we call
Uh,
CRUD, or get, post, put, and delete. And this
uh,
now, then you will say, Rajesh, what you are going to teach me? So I will teach you how to make this code. Understand this: how to take the requirement from Jira, how to run in the container, how to write the code, how to store the code, how to analyze the code, how to build the code, how to package the code, how to test the code, how to deploy the code, how to deploy in the production, how to create infrastructure for that running that code, how to do the CI/CD, and how to monitor the code. This I'll teach you if you change your mindset. Are you understanding, all of you?
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So now let me where I was. So fighting issues. So how to develop, how to set up a DevOps team. So these are the things which we are discussing. So in fighting issues, we have to solve it. There are lots of wastage also which we have it. So some of the wastage, like which you do a lot. For example, partial work done, extra processes you have in team. Extra process means I want access. How much time it should take? Automatically I should get access the moment I join team, but it take 1 month, multiple email, multiple discussion, multiple this, that, and all. Extra features wastage. We develop something which is not needed. Task switching, immediately we don't complete the one work and do that other work and stuff like that, and many other things which we have. I'll not drag it. One of the waste which we have, a knowledge waste. Let's say if you have a old model where you have dev team separate, QA team separate, operations team separate. So the skill set we have it. We have engineers who can write a very good code. We have engineers who can write a very good test cases. We have engineers who can write a integration well, operations well. But we cannot utilize because they are in a different team. But when you merge into one team, so you can utilize it. So knowledge waste can be avoided. Waiting waste. How to tell you? Just go to the Outlook if you're working in some organization and put there's a keyword waiting, and you will understand what I'm talking about. Correct? You're waiting for someone's permission, waiting for some meetings, waiting for some inputs, waiting for build, waiting for testing, waiting for deployment, waiting for this, waiting for that, and that's a waste again. You should avoid that. All the waiting issues you can list out, and then how to avoid that, you have to do that. Overproduction waste, that means something which you don't is making any useful for the client, but still we work on it. Extra processes we have in the team. Motion waste, on which motion we deliver the work from the dev to QA to production, that is a motion. Transportation, how do we transport? You transport through the physical server, virtual server, or container is faster. So that is something which I'll teach you, what is a container using Docker. Correction waste, we spend a lot of time after the release to fix the bugs. That is the worst actually, because that will inflate your production cost, and then bring the lots of technical debt in the project. So multiple issues you have actually. So That all issues which we had pain area and wastage, you are going to fix with DevOps. So recycle, reduce, reuse along with the DevOps. So what is the DevOps? So Ginny said he's a scientist. IT is the factory floor of this century. IT, that means what was the factory floor for the last century? Manufacturing. Who own it? China. Why? Because they automated everything. So in IT also today you have to automate everything, and those who automate, those companies who will automate, they will win. Okay. So this is a something which you have to do that. So what is the DevOps then? So DevOps is all about bringing the cultural change, mindset, cultural changes. That's what I'm telling again. Change your mindset, change your mindset, change your mindset. You should be ready. That's one important thing. Be see doing or not, that's a second thing. But are you ready for coding, for product? Are you ready for coding for testing? Are you ready for coding for CI, Jenkins, Terraform, Ansible, all this coding? Are you understanding? To change the culture within a team, change your mindset. Then that's the first step of the DevOps. Correct now? All of you are understanding?
Yeah, Rajesh.
And then once you have a culture, say, okay, first of all, see, there's one person who's saying, hey, no, 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 I'll not do the testing. And one person is saying, okay, I want to try for the testing. That's he's ready for it. I want to write a code for testing also. So one person, those who saying I will not write a for code for testing, I don't want to get into that work. Immediately DevOps cannot be implemented in that project. Simple. But the other person who's willing to do changes, he's willing to write a code for testing or something else, then he will find out, okay, how can I write a code in an easy manner? And then project will come, team will come up and saying that, hey, listen, do one thing, use this tool, maybe Selenium or something like that, and this will help you to write a code in easy way. Okay, not the tools are coming, right? For each and everything you see hundreds of tools. Why we are using, why we are using tools? Because it helps us to save our effort, save our time. Correct. So automation will come once you are having cultural change in your team, culture change in your team. Then automation you can bring in. Then only I can talk about, hey, write a code using for infrastructure using Terraform, write a code for CI using Jenkins CI pipeline, write a code for deployment using Ansible, write a code for securing creating a package using Vault, write a code for build using Maven pom.xml, write a code for Selenium testing using Selenium Java files and all stuff like that. Automation will come once you have a culture change. So first thing, remember that. First thing, DevOps is all about one team, not a multiple team. Second thing, the team should be ready for everything. That's a cultural change. Third thing, automation, and that is where I'll teach you actually. Where I'll contribute you, I'll teach you how to automate everything. But the one thing you have to build yourself. Are you ready to change your mindset? Cultural changes you have to do yourself, because you're not a part of my team. I'm not a part of your team. So we cannot force you to change your mindset. Make sense, all of you?
Yes,
Yes, yes.
we came here
Yeah.
for that only.
Yeah, and then I teach you automation. How can you learn all these things? How can you start learning coding for everything through automation? And I'll teach you monitoring tool also. And how do we share all of your knowledge? That I'll teach you. So debug school is for sharing. Mind it. Many people say, I will not do assignment. I'll just go through your lecture and I'll not do assignment. So you are not doing assignments, so you are not learning, you're not sharing your learnings. You have to start sharing. In a project, we share through the Confluence. Whatever we do, we share it. How? Using Confluence. So you have to start that mindset. You have to all the assignments you have to do, all the projects you have to do. You have to take your personal notes, not in your laptop, but somewhere on the some places where you can share with other people. I'll tell you. Uh, I written some of my learnings in 2018. Just last day, this incident, 2018, and suddenly one guy has buzzed me saying that, hey, I was trying these scenarios and it's matching with my notes, but I'm stuck with this place. And I gave that answer. So you see that how you are sharing. So I'm sharing in the public platform, but yeah, you need to start sharing within your project, because if you start sharing, then Other people will not send you an email. Other people will not ask you for meeting. Other people will not have waiting time waiting for that information, because you have already shared in the Confluence, and he will go and search just like a Google and get all the project information. He will get it only if you are sharing about that knowledge now. So saving time, that kind of culture you have to build it. I hope you are understanding me.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the areas which I'll help you with it, automation and monitoring. Okay, cultural changes you have to do. Sharing, I would insist you, I'll give you the two platform for sharing, Debug School and bestdevops.com. I'll create accounts offline after there's some problem in that. So I'll create account and you can start sharing. You can start sharing on your own post also and do whatever you want. Okay, so let's go. So guys, this is a DevOps. Any questions?
Uh, yeah, Rajesh. So, Rajesh, the transformation we see from physical hardware to virtualization and then
Yeah,
virtualization to container. Okay, so I used to
right.
work in couple of blade server and all that, and I
Yeah,
know how the performance of the traditional basically server, right? And
right.
now the technology moved to virtualization basically, right? So where
Yeah.
we saw some, let's say, hypervisor or Citrix and all that, but we were facing some performance issue as well. And I think couple of days we are also working on the pod and container, but
Mhm.
the performance which we can see, so pod and container, and a couple of bugs as well in the Kubernetes as well. Okay, crash,
Mhm.
container is crashing and all that frequently. Okay,
Mhm.
so
So that
maybe
is
it's not
not a
really.
bug in Kubernetes. That is not
Yeah,
a bug in the Kubernetes. That is a bugs in the image itself. Okay. So how do you create an image, Docker image that will define the environment in Kubernetes? So I would say this is a very much technical questions right now. We'll not get
yeah,
into that, but yeah,
yeah,
this kind of issues that uh, until you are getting those kind of issues, our job is saved.
yeah,
So
out
our
of
job
memory
is
and
to
all that
fix.
kind of.
Yeah, yeah. That others, if everything will be done by tools, then what is the use of us? Uh, it's not use, right?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Fine. No, no, not a problem. We'll discuss later as well.
Yeah. Okay. So now the question is, then you say, Rajesh, okay, you told me conceptual definition of DevOps, but how do we start implementing DevOps? So first thing, let me just take a note of it. First thing, you have to change your mindset. You have to become one team. That's first thing. Second thing, start phase wise automation. So how do we do that? So how do we do that? So here, first question you have to ask, how to integrate all the SDLC phases automatically. So in SDLC phases, you have like a testing, build, development, testing, and operation. How to automate this? So there are tools for that actually. That is Jenkins, which you can use it. How to integrate all the team and work automatically. So how to integrate work and at Jira and Confluence, but how to integrate all the team into one team, that decisions will be taken by your organization. So you have to work with that. How to integrate all the tools automatically. So again, we are having Jenkins, many other tools are also there for that. How to integrate all the SDLC cycle teams and tools automatically, and that is where you have to work on this model. Okay, so this is a very important slides. Okay, and you need to understand. So see here, understand this way. You have a code, build, integrate, a test, release, and deploy and operate. So you see that here code. So you know what, last year, till last year, I would not say last year, few months before, I was saying, hey, coding cannot be automated, because for that only we required human for it. Whereas build can be automated, no human is required. Integration, testing, release, deploy, operate, everything can be integrated, and automated build possible, automated integration possible, automated testing possible, automated release and deploy possible, but automated coding is not possible. But after seeing the chat GPT and this one bard, I got I have to change this statement. Yes, coding can also be automated. Okay, so please mind it. So here, in order to implement the DevOps, first thing what you have to do, first you have to try to reach to the agile development. Agile development means testing team, build team, and integrations you have to automate it. So once you succeed in that, and most of the projects, I think all of you will be in agile development, maybe I'm just guessing. Then you have to try to achieve the continuous integration. In the continuous integration, what you do, build coding is done, then automated building, automated integration, automated testing. So if this all these things you club it together, you achieve this. That's called CI. So that means that's one more steps you become to reach to the close to the DevOps. Then after that you are CI implemented, you should try to automated deploy also in the production. Sorry, a release, automated release also for the production. So that way you reach to the continuous delivery. And then after that you should focus on the automated deployment, and that's called CD again, continuous deployment. And someone who manage entire process, operate entire process from the agile development to the continuous deployment, that we call it a DevOps. So again, I'm saying, if you say, Rajesh, how can I start implementing the DevOps? First, you do the agile development, then try to set up a CI, then continuous delivery, then continuous deployment, and then you are closer to the DevOps implementation. Am I making sense? Something here?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is CI/CD. Now, many people say this is something which you have to. This is a look at this here. Sorry. So tools may be different. Don't get scared with the tools. See, the source code commit so many tools, build so many tools, unit so many tools, and many things. But you know what is important in this whole slide? This green one. This is important. So what exactly this represent? So basically, once the coding is commit, automated build will happen, automated testing will happen, automated all this code analysis will happen, automated packaging will happen, automated deployment happen, automated testing will happen, and then release will happen automatically with the help of Jenkins. That is something which you have to try to do that. Okay, so code is committed here, and the rest of the things should be automatically done. Nowadays, coding also can be done with the help of ChatGPT. Okay, so now many people ask, what is the difference between continuous delivery and deployment? Very minor difference. You look at this here. In a continuous delivery, you have acceptance testing, and after that you release to the production manually. This is manually. But in a continuous deployment, this has been automated throughout. So no need to have any human interfaces between the development till the production. That is extreme state of automation. Continuous deployment is a extreme state of what do you say, automation. Remember that I'm focusing on automation. Okay, so this is something which I want to tell you. Any questions so far, all of you?
Rajesh, what is the full form of SRE? I just forgot that point.
Site
Uh,
reliability engineering.
okay.
Okay, so I'll have one session on the SRE also, but for timing, I must tell you, see, DevOps is very aggressive program actually. So very aggressive program. Here you are asking development team who's doing development from last 20 years to become everything. Testing team to become everything. And operations team also to become everything. This is a very aggressive program. And many of the times, most of the project has failed to implement the DevOps. So you said no, there is one DevOps team, and then we were having multiple teams, other teams. So this is the results of the failed DevOps. So that is where the Google suggested, and he said, see, Google said, see, we tried the DevOps, we could not implement the DevOps, but what we did, we club all the teams together in one team, that's called engineering team, and then operations team, we put it in SRE team, and ask them to work very closely, not as a one team, but a two team, but work very closely. So that concept is called SRE, on which Google practiced it, got lots of showcase, lots of benefit out of it. So now many organizations wants to migrate to SRE. So they don't want to immediately jump to the DevOps. They first implement the SRE, and if these teams are very capable and in terms of implementing SRE practices, then they will go for the DevOps, something like that. So that is something which we will learn anyways. Understood?
Yeah.
In this term, then that Scrum Master DevOps, when DevOps practice will come in picture, then maybe this Scrum Master role will completely will remove, because
Uh,
then what is the use of a Scrum Master?
Theoretically, actually, when you have a DevOps model where many things has to be automated, till the automation is in place, a Scrum Master is needed. Remember, a Scrum Master is nothing but coordinating and integrating all the functions of development, testing, and stuff like that. So once everything has been automated, the role of Scrum Master will disappear immediately.
Because DevOps, how it's look, because it's not require the Scrum Master, because Scrum Master only they facilitate the other team to complete their work
Yeah.
if it is some dependency is there.
Yes.
Otherwise, the Scrum Master don't have any role. I don't see that role is there for the Scrum Master in DevOps.
Right.
Facilitator role, kind of.
Yeah. Because here everything will be driven automatically. Let's say what code I need to do, what testing I have to do, this all process will be set. So whenever you get a requirement, you have to write a code, you have to write a test cases for it, you have to deploy automatically yourself only. So you'll say, Rajesh, how can I deploy? So you'll be trained for that. How do you get access to the coding for the all these things will be trained, and all these things will be set up, environment will be set up, so everything will happen automatically. So you'll be told like, okay, if you start working on it, these are the things you have to do here, these are the things you have to do here, these are the things you have to do in the Kubernetes, these are the changes you have to do in the monitoring. Everywhere you will have to do some coding yourself, and this coding automatically will be read by the some automation tool like CI/CD tool, and will do the rest of the things. So what I'll be teaching you, I'll be teaching you all these tools and how to code for it. Okay, so all of you understood that what is the stuff? DevOps is nothing but a way of software.
Rajesh, we lost you. Yeah, we lost you in between.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say, just I'm trying to conclude the definition of DevOps. DevOps is a way. DevOps is a one keyword coined nowadays, and for it's a very pretty large initiative you have it actually. Okay. So DevOps is a way, it's a process, it's a cultural changes, it's a way to automate, it's a way to reduce the cost of software development, reduce the cost of running the software, to way to reduce the release time. Okay, which I said, and also to improve the quality of the code. So now that is DevOps. Now it's a way, it's a process, it's a conceptual thing. Now for implementing what to do. So first thing, change your mindset. Change your mindset. Okay, you have to do everything. Instead of having multiple team, you'll have one team, and this team has to do everything. Everything done by one team, not multiple teams. You'll have it, one team will do everything. Coding for the product, coding for the testing the product, coding for the CI/CD infrastructure integration operations and monitoring. Everything will be done by one team. So now what to do in order to do that? So you have to change your mindset, change the culture of your team, and after that you look for the automation, some of the tools which you have to do that. So try to achieve first agile development, then CI, then continuous delivery, then continuous deployment. And for that, I have a lots of tools for it, which I'm again and again I'm showing you. So here, all this platform you are migrating from the physical server to VMs, VM to container, but planning tool, sharing tool, Confluence, how to code for it, how to store the code, how to review automatically, how to build the code, how to package the code and archive the code, how to test the code, how to deploy the code, how to deploy in the production server in a container world, how to create infrastructure using coding, how to create a CI using Jenkins, and how to monitor log monitoring, infrastructure monitoring and performance. Now, apart from that, we have SRE also. Lots of other tools will be taught, and security also you have to do in the DevSecOps, which is not in the DevOps but DevSecOps. You have to learn multiple security tools to implement it. Make sense, all of you?
If you would have any issues with our channel membership, you can drop an email to us at contact@devopsschool.com, or you can also unsubscribe from channel membership anytime if you don't want to continue or did not like the video.
Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest.
Thanks for watching.